Lesson number 7. Student List. In this lesson, we will review the functionality features of the Student List report. Log into the system with your administrator access. In the main dashboard, the second button from the left is the Student List. For convenience, a link to the Student List is located on the Quick Access toolbar when you are in the Users area, IN's list, or other reports linked to the Student List. The purpose of the Student List is to create a database for each student containing the main demographic information, program type, payment and outstanding balance, entry-level driver training progress, and training progress. Let's take a closer look at the different fields this report contains. We will move from left to right. The student's first and last name are in the first columns of the report. Clicking on last name opens up the student's profile to give you more detailed information about the student and his training. The next column contains the student's identifier key or student ID, followed by the total training time, TTT, and outstanding balance. These columns are locked, meaning that when you scroll to the left, the student's information will be visible. The headers of the report are also locked to simplify viewing the information in this report. The fourth field is the student's identifier key or student ID. We assign a separate number to each student in our system, in addition to the electronic signature key. The student's identifier key or student ID is printed on the badge. The student's identifier key gives the school managers information regarding when a student enrolled and simplifies the work of reception when taking phone calls from students with particularly difficult last names. The campus location that the student has been assigned is in the next column. This feature is useful for schools who have multiple locations. Location is an important parameter in the student list because depending on the location, the school owner can assign students to school managers so that they will only be able to view their own database of students in the student list report. If a manager needs to view the student list from another location, there is a drop-down menu located in the upper right corner to switch locations. In our example, we are working under the SuperAdmin access, which does not have a set location, so we are able to view students from all locations. The next drop-down menu changes the view of the student list depending on whether you want to see current students, students who have graduated from the program, or those that have canceled or been dismissed from the school. For example, if you need to generate a list of current students for the Tacoma location, this can be done by selecting the desired option from the drop-down menu. The next column is for generating a QR code badge for students. We have already covered this feature in the previous lessons. If you recall, this feature is used to print badges for new students in order to track attendance hours. Please note that there are two buttons in the upper left corner for printing. They are used to print selected QR code badges and to deselect. To the right of the QR codes is the total training time, TTT, parameter. This have discussed this feature previously, so I will only note that it is a basic and extremely important feature that is based on which other system reports are created, for example, the skills test report, as well as the dismissal report. The next column is the student's outstanding balance. When clicking on the balance, you will be redirected to the student profile payment block, where you can see the outstanding balance and its details. This is useful when communicating with students to quickly check for payments received or give information regarding any outstanding balances. It is also important when working with accounts receivable and collecting outstanding balances. The student status is in next column. In our example, everyone is active. To change a student's status, click on their last name to open the student's profile. Changing a status is done when if a student has been dismissed, graduated from the program, or the profile needs to be deleted. The first and second buttons are to block or unblock a student from accessing their account profile. The next two are for archiving and deleting. Occasionally, it is necessary to block a student if they have an outstanding balance and are refusing to pay or are avoiding communicating with the school. Of course, you can block only Learning Center access, evaluations, clocking in, but if you need to completely revoke the student's access for all training as in case of dismissals, then this block is used. The next group of columns provide the program details, program, transmission, and attendance status. All this data is entered at the time of enrollment from the student's enrollment agreement, including the tuition cost, registration fees, and the total amount of tuition charged. The date a student completed enrollment and was transferred to the status of a student is in the next column, followed by the school representative who completed the enrollment process. The last two blocks contain information about a student's progress in the Learning Center, which we discussed in detail in previous lessons, and evaluation data. The student list report contains the most recent evaluation for each type of category, for example, the most recent NCAB inspection evaluation. The indicator shows whether the student passed or failed the evaluation. Red means failed, and green means passed. By hovering over the indicator of a particular evaluation, you can see by whom and when it was made, as well as the instructor's comment, if the instructor left any. By clicking on the indicator, you are able to view the evaluation form. In conclusion, it should be noted that the student list is not only a report, but also the main database containing all your school's important information. It is like a digital filing cabinet that stores all the student file folders, financial data, and other important information without taking up space in your office. We hope this information was useful to you. In the next lesson, we will look at the dismissal report and show how to use it to monitor student attendance at the school.